To Chapter 13, Measuring and Scaling Concepts. Here are our learning outcomes. Thing to remember with this chapter is that we're diving now into details, the actual construction of things, the mechanics of the survey and things like that. So it's becomes an assembly process at this point. So the most important work you're doing, quite frankly, is the questions. Understanding the target market, understanding what your client needs, and so on. The second half of this then, which is why you're working in a team, is to assemble the parts in a meaningful way so that you get results that are reliable. So let's just take a real brief look at this. So measurement, and then the concepts of measurement. So how do we do this? How do we describe what we're evaluating, and what's an accurate way to do it? So validity, that's a key thing. So you see a problem here, well, I see 1 and 4 are nearly the same, yet they have a different letter grade outcome. That's problematic. Then you've got validity issues for sure. So operationalize scales that correspond to the variance in a concept involved in a research process. What's going to best describe this? Again, it's a process of elimination. Every scale will work, but what's the best one given what you're trying to measure? That becomes the key element. So levels of scale, nominal and ordinal. Think number and hot, cold, warm is one way of thinking about it. But eventually they all become numeric at some level. So here's nominal, ordinal, interval, ratio. Ratio is probably the most complex, the most descriptive. Again, all these are perfectly valid. It just depends on how and where they're going to be used, what's going to give you the most descriptive information. So interval, ratio, just describes these. You can read these. Discrete measures, continuous measures, or just that discrete is 1, 2, 3, 4. Continuous is a range. Those types of things. Variance and intensity, sort of like a thermostat. Indexes can be, attributes and things like that, fundamental features. We're going to look at those or consider those. Composite measures where we're going to use more than one thing. Summated scale, reverse scale, Validity is another important area to look. Face validity, content, criterion validity. Again, account for all of these. When you go through this, again, this is why you have a team. Account for all the different parts or moving parts so that you accurately describe what and why you chose what you chose in order to just use the measurements. How you're scaling these things. So describe them carefully. So here's a reliability and validity on target. So so it's a good way to look at low reliability. We hit everything. New rifle, high reliability. We're kind of clustered around one area. That's the high level of reliability. It's repeatable. Okay, and then new rifle, sun glare. We've got an extraneous variable that's pushing us off. Okay, so there's things to be accounted for. So we want to be careful about that. And then sensitivity. It's that sensitivity analysis that we talked about. You want to be careful about the scale starting at 0 typically. So you don't magnify sensitivity or reduce the amount of sensitivity that something has. You want it to be accurate, understandable, repeatable, valid, all those things. So again, account for them and you'll be doing just fine.